Hello and welcome to the Royal Road School of Carmelite Prayer. We are journeying through the book of her foundations by Teresa of Avila. We have reached the final foundation, the one in Burgos, and this is part 2 of a series of videos describing Teresa's adventures in this city. So today we're going to take a look at the journey to Burgos. Entering Burgos, the Archbishop that Teresa meets there, the Mass, and then finally the administrator. So here we go. Father Provincial accompanied us on this journey to look after me and to visit Soria, not far from Burgos. The roads were so flooded with heavy rains that he was also needed to pull the wagons out of the mire. Though daring, the Lord had told me that we could make this trip without harm, that He would be with us. There was special danger in a river crossing near Burgos called Paso de los Pontones. The rain had flooded the bridge, and it could not even be seen. In some, it was very imprudent to cross there, especially with wagons. We had hired a guide in an inn who knew that crossing, and oh, the inns. Anyway, there was no possibility of making a full day's journey in one day because of the bad roads. The wagons usually got stuck in the mud, needing other mules to help pull the wagons out. The fathers who came with us underwent a lot because the muleteers that we had hired were young and they were very careless. Father Provincial took care of everything. What was difficult, he made easy, except the crossing of the bridge. We were 8 nuns, 5 were to remain in Burgos. My illnesses prevented me from enjoying the good things that happened during the journey. All the nuns were very happy, and once the danger was over, they found recreation in talking about it. For those who usually practice obedience, as do these nuns, it was a great thing to suffer in obeying. So it was through this rough journey and the heavy rains that we ended up arriving in Burgos. Before entering the city, our father wanted us to go first to visit the Holy Crucifix and recommend our foundation to the Lord. It had been decided that the foundation be made immediately. The next day, the whole city council came in a body to see me. If we had any fear, it was of the city. Thus we considered that now everything would go easily. Although no one knew of our coming, we had thought of making it known to the Archbishop so that the first Mass could be said at once, but because of the very heavy rain, we didn't do so. That night, we rested in the comfort of this holy woman home. The large fire proved to be very troublesome for me. The next day, I couldn't even raise my head and had to speak to visitors through a veiled grate. It was a day in which I had to attend to business matters. I was most embarrassed. So early that morning, Father Provincial went to seek the blessing of His Excellency, the Archbishop. He found the Archbishop very angry because I had come to Burgos, his city, without permission. He was acting as though he had never ordered me to come or had never discussed anything of the foundation. When he finally conceded that he had ordered me to come, he said he meant that I should come alone, but that I had come with so many nuns. The Bishop of Palencia had told me that there was no reason to ask permission of the Archbishop, who had already said how much he desired the foundation. This is the way things happened. And they did happen in this way because God wanted the house to be founded. Afterward, the Archbishop did acknowledge to me that had we openly informed him, he would have told us not to come. He ended the visit with Father Provincial by telling him that if we did not have an income or our own house, that we would not be granted the license. We could not easily return, and we could easily return to where we had come from. Lord, how certain is it that anyone who renders you service soon pays with a great trial. And what a precious reward a trial is for those who truly love you, if we could at once understand its value. But we did not then want this reward because it was making everything impossible. The Archbishop made still more demands on us, that what would be used for income and buying the house could not be taken from what the nuns had brought with them. Everything seemed lost, but I was certain that all was working for the best. Father Provincial returned very happy, though. He wasn't annoyed. He wasn't annoyed with me for not having secured the Archbishop's permission in writing, as he had told me to do. Some of our friends and relatives to whom Canon Salias from Palencia had written on our behalf thought that we should secure the Archbishop's permission to have Mass in the house. We were never able, however, to obtain his permission to have Mass there, even though 2 canons had begged him. The most they got from the Archbishop was that once we had an income, that the foundation could be made there in that house until we bought a house. Further, he said that to buy a house, we would have to have guarantors who would pay, and that we would have to leave the place where we were staying. We found guarantors at once, and Catalina de Tolosa provided the income for the foundation. It took more than 3 weeks to decide on the amount of money, how and from where it would come. During this time, we could not hear Mass. Catalina de Tolosa did all so well. She was so generous, and she showed so much goodwill towards us. She provided us all with food for an entire month, as though she were our mother. Father Provincial and his companions were given lodging at a friend's house, Dr. Manso. Our Provincial was very impatient about being detained for so long, but he did not know how he could possibly leave us in this situation. Once an agreement was reached about the guarantors and the income, the Archbishop ordered that documents be given to the administrator and that the matter be taken care of at once. After we had spent almost a month trying to meet the demands of the Archbishop, the administrator sent me a note saying that until we had our own house, the license would not be granted. He did not want the foundation to be made in the house in which we were staying, that is, Catalina's house, because it was damp there, and there was too much noise in the street. It was as if we were just beginning the whole process. The Archbishop also felt that the house we chose had to meet his approval. This is the end of part 2. So you see, Teresa's adventures continue. It's always exciting to journey with Teresa. I hope you're enjoying this, And I leave you in suspense and looking forward to our next part 3 as we continue our foundation in Burgos. God bless you all. Take care.